Welcome back to Scarlet and Maize. We have a special little extra bit here because, Zach, you're fired up about these rankings.
I am pissed about these rankings. I just don't understand what the committee is doing. My biggest quarrel is with why on earth is Auburn ranked 17th? Then Penn State, who beat them head-to-head, is unranked with the same record. I just am sick of the SEC bias. Auburn was losing with less than a minute to go against 4-5 Georgia State, and they took the lead on a touchdown that gave them a 3-point lead. Then Georgia State was driving on the field, and they got a good play and a pick six and closed the game out. But with less than a minute to go, they were losing to Georgia freaking State. And Penn State beat them head-to-head, and Penn State's unranked. That makes no sense. But here we are again. I said this on our episode the other day. Last week, the college football playoff rankings had the highest 0-loss team was SEC, the highest 1-loss team was SEC, the highest 2-loss team was SEC, and the highest 3-loss team is SEC. There's no 4-loss teams ranked. If there was a 4-loss team ranked, it'd be SEC. And here we are again, the same boat, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Cool, Texas A&M beat Alabama, but why is that a quality win? Who has Alabama beat? I saw a quote, I don't know if this was even true, I feel like it couldn't be true, but someone said that, Barta said that Alabama has a top 10 wins, but they haven't played anyone in the top 10. The highest ranked team that they've played is Texas A&M, and they lost, which is just, this just makes no sense to me. The Michigan State thing is just, I just feel like it's such a slap in the face of Michigan State.
Maybe they deserved a slap in the face.
Why?
Here's why. Because you lose to Purdue. Because you only beat Indiana by 5. Because you've been outgained in most of your games. Maybe the committee is trying to prevent a 2015 MSU thing from happening, where they go and then just get their pants pulled down in front of the entire country, and they view them more as a pretender than a contender.
But look, there's still lots of football left.
Well, that's my point with why I get worked up about it. But.
I mean, it's just absurd. They beat them 8 days ago
with an asterisk, officially.
Whether there's an asterisk or not, they beat them. Why? If the refs messed up that game, why take it away from Michigan State?
What do you mean?
Why are you why would they give the benefit of the doubt to Michigan and not give? If they're not giving Michigan State that quality win because the refs skewed the game.
But here's the deal:
put them lower.
The committee's job isn't to pick based on one single game. The committee's job is to pick who they think are the 4 best teams, which there is SEC bias for sure. There's Alabama bias for sure, which is why they're number 2. It's not based just on this year, which I disagree with also. But Michigan State doesn't get a free pass just because they lucked out against Michigan with some bullcrap calls. They lost to Purdue by double digits. They could have gotten blown out. They barely beat Indiana. They barely beat Nebraska. They've been outgained almost every single week.
My biggest thing is, why put them one spot below Michigan? If you're going that far as to say that they're not as good as Michigan, then I don't think they're as good as Oklahoma. I don't think they're as deserving as Notre Dame. If you're taking that win away from them and are looking at all the other body of work, I agree. Then maybe put Notre Dame higher, put Oklahoma higher. Notre Dame has won every game, and their only losses to a top 5 team in Cincinnati. And Oklahoma's undefeated. I think the biggest reason they have Oklahoma so low, which is still crazy to me, they're a Power 5 program that's been great since the playoffs have happened. They've been great, and I think the biggest thing there is the close game to Kansas. But
there's a quote from Barta, the chair of the committee.
Yeah.
He said, "A week ago it was discussed that Michigan might be the more complete team. Offensively, defensively, every statistic, Michigan is ahead of Michigan State. But the committee certainly gave Michigan State the nod. They beat Michigan head-to-head. What's different a week later? Michigan won. Michigan State lost. The discussion in the room went back and forth, but at the end of the day, we felt as a committee that Michigan was a better team to be ranked ahead of Michigan State." To me, it feels like they're treating it more of a tie. I don't know how much of it has to do with the Big Ten saying officially, okay, the officials made a mistake, which literally altered the score and trajectory of the game. But the game is not a free pass for Michigan State to lose one against an, at the time, unranked team. I'll be surprised if Purdue finishes ranked.
Yeah.
But It
Yeah.
doesn't give them a free pass to just lose and lose by multiple scores just because of. So to me, it's like they're treating it almost like a tie, and so they're close. If they think they're that close, if in their mind there's like, oh, there's this little asterisk here, and they think Michigan is better because of the statistics, it doesn't just come down to one shadily called game. I mean, Michigan and Michigan State both play Penn State and Ohio State. It'll work itself out.
Yeah, I
But
agree. It'll work
if
itself out.
Michigan
One
State keeps getting outgained in nearly every game, it's not going to matter.
Yeah. One thing that I do like about them putting Michigan over Michigan State is I think they're sending a message against Ohio State as they hit the toughest games of their schedule. They play ranked Purdue this weekend. They play top 10 Michigan State the next weekend. Then it's Michigan. Then they play the Big Ten championship game against most likely a ranked team.
Oh, that's bold to assume. I'm just joking.
Most likely a ranked team.
Yeah.
That's 4 games in a row. I think if they win all 4 of those games, I think they're saying that they're in. There's no way anybody jumps them. I think they're even saying they'll jump Oregon at that point, even with them losing to Oregon.
Yeah, I think it's like Ohio State's number 4. They're not going to drop if they win out.
Right.
I think it says more about Cincinnati at this point. Like Cincinnati needs something to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that goes to, it's not just about not losing. It's about how you look, which we can debate that if that's the committee's job isn't to say who has lost the fewest games.
Right.
You know.
But
I think it'll work itself out too with Michigan and Michigan State.
I do think the committee in the past has valued the head-to-head more than this.
I think last week they said that's why Oregon was ahead of Ohio State.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Whatever.
Well, then even not even that with the head-to-head.
I would argue
head-to-head,
Ohio State should be above Oregon.
Yeah. But the other head-to-head one that nobody's talking about is Auburn and Penn State. Like they have the same record, and Auburn's 17th, and Penn State's unranked. Like I get maybe if getting to the point where it was a while ago, it was head-to-head, but they have the same record. If Auburn's ranked and Penn State beat them, Penn State deserves to be at least 25th.
Yeah, it's crazy that Penn State is unranked, but it's whatever.
Yeah. I mean, they were right in the game with top 4 team at the end of the game. I get they have that bad loss against Illinois, but
how about Wake Forest only dropping to 12?
Yeah, that was honestly pretty surprising.
ACC bias.
The only other team that is below them that I could be like, oh, maybe the SEC should be higher is like that. The only team I'm surprised is lower is Ole Miss, just because everyone else has 2 losses below them, even Ole Miss, other than non-Power 5 teams, and like I can't justify those 2 loss teams being higher just because they don't have the body of work to put them higher. Like Baylor in the Big 12 hasn't won a lot of big games. Iowa's 7-2. They haven't won a lot of huge games. They were all the way up to 2, but yeah, after losing to Purdue, I think it's funny that they put Purdue right above them now.
I mean, Purdue beat Iowa. So.
Yeah. There you go. Head to head, put Purdue ahead of them, even though Purdue has more losses.
Well, Purdue has more top 5 wins. No, I get it. Yeah.
Has
anyone watched Iowa and gone, "That's a great football team"?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't have any problem with that. I just want to see San Diego State ranked higher. I'm just joking.
I love to see the Roadrunners in there. University of Texas San
Yeah.
Antonio undefeated, finally getting some respect. First time they've ever been in the college football playoff poll, 9-0.
Crazy.
Yeah. I don't think I have any more thoughts.
No, me neither.
I think it'll be interesting to see if Oklahoma can, as they finish out the Big 12 season, they still got Oklahoma State and Baylor on their schedule. If as they finish out that season, they can work their way up and maybe jump somebody and work their way into the top 4. With even if some of these teams don't lose.
Yeah, I will say I would understand the Michigan State-Michigan argument a little bit more if the playoffs started tomorrow.
Yeah.
If this was definitive and final, that's one thing. But also, beating a team in a close game that there are question marks around, which you can say whining, whatever, defines a program, whatever, it doesn't matter. You lost to Purdue by multiple. don't lose to frickin' Purdue
Yeah.
by multiple scores.
Don't have David Bell go for over 200 yards against you.
Maybe learn how to defend the pass. That said, don't not buy your
Yeah.
cider, your eggnog, your donuts.
I'm not happy with the playoff committee right now. I'll just leave it at that. Like I said before, like I'd almost rather have the BCS system still.
I would love to spend more time talking about the Akron defense at the end of the Ohio State basketball game, but that's for another time.
Hey, a win's a win.
A win is a win, unless it's not. We'll see you next week.